know who is approaching 100 days in office with historically low, historic low poll numbers, even though I don't believe in polls. And yesterday, Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker gave a very fiery speech demanding that his party do more disrupting, more protesting, fight back more the way that Americans have been doing in town halls. And here's what New York Republican Congressman Mike Lawler had to deal with just the other night. Take a look.
We are a strong, united country. And we have... My record speaks for itself. I have been... If you're just going to yell back and forth, the time is going to run pretty quick.
So, what more do Democrats need to do? Because it seems to me that people, Americans, not Democrats or Republicans, Americans are standing up and they're making themselves heard. And I've been saying the last couple of almost while that you don't depend on them.
Yeah.
This has to come from us.
Yeah.
This has to come from us. So
I want to make a distinction between Democratic voters and Democratic politicians. I love what you say about the people. They should be protesting. They should be showing up at town halls. Anything they need to speak to their elected officials, scream it out loud, fine. But I don't think Democrats should just be obstructionists to be obstruction. Like, that to me is the jersey-wearing problem with DC. I think Democrats need to get around a message, and they can't run in midterms and in federal elections on just, we're not Trump. And this last election, the thing I keep repeating is anyone in this room could name what the Republicans, what Trump won on. If you asked me what were the Dems' messages, it was everything. And so until they get clear on their message where everyone can spell out this is what they ran on and they have clear messaging, I don't think we're going to see victories.
And I think that's what we're seeing from J.B. Pritzker. We're seeing clear messaging. We're seeing optimism. We're seeing a willingness to fight. And it's not just obstructing. He is pulling every lever he's got as the governor of Illinois to fight back against Trump. He's fighting back on the tariffs. He's fighting back on the abuses of power on immigration. He's suing the government, the Trump administration.
Just to clarify, I mean the D.C.
Right, but what I'm saying is J.B. Pritzker is not only talking the talk, he is walking the walk. And I love this guy because he's not spending the time navel-gazing and infighting and doing the whole woe is me thing. He is saying, these are the things we need to do and let's do it together. And this is, I met with him in Miami last month. He gave a speech that got rousing applause. I asked him if he was going to run for president. He first needs to decide if he's running for governor. He probably will be on the get a petition going next month. He was so approachable, a billionaire who was relatable, who told me, for him, it's all about the work and doing things for people. He loves to stand up for the little guy, and he speaks from such insight and experience. He's talking about, he's raising the flag about how similar what we are living through right now is to 1930s, 1940s Germany. And he does it because his family fled pogroms in Ukraine and fled the Holocaust. So he knows what he's talking about when he warns that. I think we need more J.B. Pritzkers. I think if there was one mistake, something I could tell Kamala Harris now in 2020 hindsight is, I wish you'd spend less time trying to bring Republicans into the fold and more time energizing the base, energizing the black vote, the Latino vote. That was not what it needed to be. And this guy understands that he needs to energize the base and he needs to do things. And you know what else? Cha-Cha Cardenas loves him. Anytime my dog loves somebody, I love somebody.
We were talking about, what Democratic officials should be doing. And I'm to your point, I think they just need to get out of the Republicans' way because the Republicans are damaging this country so much so that I think Trump voters are realizing they were lied to. Chris Murphy actually said Trump voters are starting to turn on him because they took him seriously when he said he would lower costs and didn't take him seriously when he said he'd act like a dictator. And now they are realizing the opposite is true. So I think people are feeling it. That's why you're seeing thousands and thousands of people with their hands off demonstrations all over the country. I think you are seeing some Democratic leaders. I saw Cory Booker, who was just outstanding when he did his 25-hour talk on the stage. But he was also with Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, and they were sitting on the steps of the Capitol, and they were talking to people. They were talking to the people about budgets and about things that we call them kitchen table issues.
Right.
And so they're doing things in innovative ways, and I think that's going to continue. And I really think now that people are feeling it, they're going to become much more involved.
So I preface this with I like Governor Pritzker and was deeply impressed with him when we had him on the show.
Yeah.
I didn't like the line, Republicans cannot know a moment of peace. He does go on to say they should be met with protests and a microphone. He's clearly not calling for violence. We know that, but as a Republican who's gotten threats, as many people know, we're living in a moment of political violence. Somebody tried to assassinate the Democratic governor of Pennsylvania. The sitting president had faced assassination attempts. I think elected officials should be really careful with those words. But I thought otherwise the substance of what he said was good. But to me, I'm a Republican, so maybe I'm not the audience. The best messenger I've heard from Democrats so far was Pete Buttigieg. And he went on Andrew Schultz's podcast, who's known as, I'd call him probably kind of a far-right type podcaster. And he ran through the question that I always ask politicians when I brief them. How do you speak to the thing that is keeping someone awake at night or stressing them out on a Tuesday morning? And it's almost always kitchen table issues. How am I going to pay that bill? How am I going to fill up my tank? And he runs through a day in the life of a person and all of the things that he believes Democrats should do to make those things easier. And at the end of it, one of the guys on set is like, clip that. That was fire. It clearly resonated with guys who do not see politics the way that Buttigieg does, but he was speaking to the pain that people are feeling. Yeah. So I think the whole message comes back to, like, how do you make people's day-to-day lives easier in a tangible way? Well, it does depend
on what you are concerned about. If you're an LGBTQ person, your kitchen table issues are going to be different. And I think what we've forgotten as an entity called the United States is that we've always had to deal with the things we didn't like and talk about the things that were good. And what's happened now is people have made things you don't like a bludgeon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the things you don't like this about this person, you don't like that they feel. But this country was based on you could be anybody and come to America. You could be anybody. You could come here. You could come to this country and come out if you needed to. You could come to this country and celebrate how many mixes there are in you. You could come to this country and make your family better. That was what that's what our...
You can speak your mind, too.
You can speak your mind and not be afraid of getting arrested. These are the things that American values have been built on as long as I've been alive. Now, maybe it was different the day before I was born. I don't know. But since I've been alive, this is what I know.